Thank you very much. We move now to the Society of United Professionals. The floor is yours. They are joining us virtually.
Thank you. Members of the committee.
Can you identify yourself and your title, and you have 7 minutes.
Certainly. Members of the committee and to the chair, thank you for the opportunity to present today. My name is Laurie Reid, and I serve as Secretary-Treasurer of the Society of United Professionals. In previous jobs, I worked for Ontario Hydro, as it was then known, Enbridge Gas Distribution, the Canadian Gas Association, and as a senior advisor at the Ontario Energy Board for more than 20 years. I'm joined by Society Research Staff Officer Nathan Jackson. The Society of United Professionals is a union representing more than 10,000 engineers, scientists, supervisors, and other professionals in Canada's energy and legal sectors. Our members work in every aspect of the electricity industry. They are involved in generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity, management of the electricity system, regulation and enforcement of standards, and management of the electricity market. We are in the midst of a climate emergency that demands dramatic and urgent action. The government, in the Society's view, should focus on achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions through a fair and just transition for all communities and workers. The Ontario government can achieve this, in part, by supporting a shift towards the electrification of our economy, powered by greenhouse gas emission-free nuclear, hydro, and renewable energy. The Society applauds the government's prudent decision to refurbish the Pickering nuclear generating station, in addition to recent announcements to construct a new full-size nuclear generating station at the Bruce nuclear site and the installation of 3 additional small modular reactors at the Darlington nuclear site. But we shouldn't stop there. We must continue to significantly expand the province's publicly owned and operated nuclear fleet through the investment in additional new full-sized CANDU reactors at OPG. And I said CANDU reactors for a reason. We strongly urge the government to prioritize CANDU technology, since Canada's CANDU nuclear supply chain currently supports over 89,000 good, mostly unionized, jobs, while ensuring Canada's energy independence. The Society views Bill 214 as a crucial first step in creating an electricity system that can power our net zero energy transition. The legislation's clear prioritization of nuclear power generation ensures Ontario's electricity system will remain one of the cleanest in the world, even as demand for electricity increases significantly. However, the Society cannot support the bill as written. We have significant concerns with amendments made to the Electricity Act in Schedule 1 of Bill 214. Of particular concern is the repeal of sections 25.29 to 25.31 and the text proposed as substitution, which removes the role of the IESO in energy planning. The Society represents nearly 700 members at the IESO. These people are experts in their field and are the most qualified voices to discuss long-term energy planning in the province. The Society is proud of the work our members do and cannot support any legislation that removes IESO consultation from the province's energy planning process. The Society is deeply concerned that Bill 214 signifies a shift from energy planning by technical experts to energy planning by lobbyists. The Society urges the committee to amend the proposed legislation to reintroduce the language from 25.293 of the Electricity Act that is repealed in the proposed Bill 214. The Society is also deeply troubled by what appears to be a removal of limiting greenhouse gas emissions as one of the stated objectives of the energy plan, as described in Section 25.29. The existing language of the Electricity Act that would be repealed under Bill 214 specifically lists greenhouse gas emissions as a consideration in electricity planning. The proposed substitute language in Bill 214 makes no reference to limiting greenhouse gases, air emissions, or carbon emissions as one of the goals and objectives which may be included in the energy plan. the Society urges the Committee to amend the proposed legislation to reintroduce the repealed language, identifying carbon emission levels as an included goal and objective of long-term energy planning. Finally, I want to address privatization. Ontario's local distribution companies face significant infrastructure challenges preparing for the shift towards electrification. The Society believes the provincial government should be supporting LDCs through capital investment in infrastructure upgrades to prepare them for electrification. However, a section in the fall economic statement instead raises concern that the government solution to LDC infrastructure needs is to encourage privatization of LDC assets. The Society strongly opposes the privatization of our existing electricity assets and encourages the government to support our LDCs by investing in the capital upgrades needed to facilitate the electrification of our economy. In summary, as the union representing professionals across the province's electricity sector, the Society supports the general intentions of Bill 214 to prioritize investment in nuclear energy to power the electrification of Ontario's economy. However, the Society is unable to support the legislation as drafted, as it reduces the planning role of Society members at the ISO, who are the technical experts on our electricity system. Furthermore, the proposed legislation removes existing references to greenhouse gas emissions in our long-term energy planning, which we believe is a crucial consideration with respect to mitigating climate change. Thank you for the opportunity to share our concerns with Bill 214 with this committee, and we look forward to any further discussions on the proposed legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Can you expand a bit on your concerns about the removal of the requirement of consulting the technical expertise of the ISO in producing the long-term energy plan? I mean, I have my own concerns, but you're one of the professionals who actually does this, and you know the professionals who do the work. What is your concern about this removal?
To my mind, the planning for long-term energy within the province should always start with the experts for what's possible, what's needed, what it should be, as opposed to coming up with whether it's the energy mix or the siting of projects, and then trying to work it into a scope and trying to make it fit. So if we're not starting, originally in the legislation, it says that the ISO will do various reports and there will be consultation. Those reports will be made public and there will be consultation on those reports. That has been removed from the legislation. So if you, in the Society's view, that's looking at long-term planning backwards.
Okay, and it's interesting because we went through Bill 165 and the whole reshaping of the relationship of the OEB to the gas industry. And you were very concerned at that time as well, or the Society was. I can't remember if you were the presenter. I think Nathan,
I was.
Oh, you was. Okay. You were very concerned about the move essentially to a lobbyist-driven planning process and going away from an evidence-based planning process. So you're seeing that replicated in this particular instance. That's correct?
We're concerned about that. The purpose of the deregulation of the electricity system, 24 years ago, was to take government influence out of the planning process and the running of the electricity system in Ontario. We're not convinced that the current government can maintain that independence and that hands-off approach if they're not being guided by technical experts.
Okay. I may not get an answer from you, but I get a second round of questioning. I am very concerned as well about a just transition. And I'll talk about another part of the energy system. If we substantially electrify the vehicle fleet in this province, the need for refineries, the whole oil and gas processing system is going to drop quite substantially. And I don't see anything in this plan that actually says, okay, Southwestern Ontario, Sarnia, industry is going to change underneath your feet. We are actually going to make the plans now and the investments now to make sure that those workers actually have a continuity of work. You talk about just transition.
Thank you very much, MPP Tabbins. The time is up. We will move to the government side. MPP Yakubowski.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much to the presenters. I do want to start with Laurie Reid here, if I may, the Society of United Professionals, because I'm a little confused, because on one part you're saying you want us to build nuclear, you want us not only to build 4,800 megawatts new at Bruce, but you want us to build at the OPG sites. And on the other hand, which we haven't had, this is part of our plan, but on the other hand, you're saying, but you can't do anything unless you talk to us and our folks at the IESO. So the bill, as it stands, there's nothing in it that prohibits the minister from having all of those consultations and conversations and getting that information and advice from those professionals. There's nothing that prohibits him from doing it. It does give him, at the end of the day, the authority to act as the minister. On one hand, you're saying go, go, go. On another hand, you're saying no, no, no. So if the bill as it stands, you support it or you don't support it, because this is a game-changing, circumstance-altering for the power system here in Ontario bill for our power supply and our economic future. Support it or not?
So I hope I was clear in my presentation, and it should be clear in our submission as well. We support it with amendments. And we are certainly very pleased, the Society is very pleased to see the announcements that have been made about nuclear and the support for them in this in the bill. However, we wonder, and we are a little confused about taking out the emphasis on the ISO contributing to the planning of the long-term energy plan for the province, and we'd like to see it reinstated.
Well, then they haven't been taken out. The minister, at the end of the day, has the decision-making power to make those decisions with regards to those. So it doesn't mean in any way that people are being taken out, but the authority rests with the minister. Would you agree that that's what the bill does?
I would agree that it rests all the decision-making power with the minister. I would contrast it with what was in the bill now, which suggests that the ISO has a very strong technical part of the planning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to go back to Ms. Reid and the question I was asking about the transition for energy workers.
Thanks very much. Oh, go ahead.
Well, as I was asking before, I so grievously ran out of time. No criticism, Chair. I know the clocks are what they are. We know that in the energy transition, there will be many new energy jobs that will come into being, and other energy jobs will go out of being. If you're talking about mass electrification of the vehicle fleets in Ontario, you are going to be processing, refining, distributing far less in the way of fossil fuels. Simply the reality. People who work at what are now called gas stations, but what will become charging stations, will still be employed. But in the refining sector, it's going to be a very different story. Do you support an amendment to the bill to actually incorporate in integrated energy planning labor market planning to make sure that workers in the energy sector are provided with the support they need to continue employment, potentially in other areas of energy production and management?
Thanks very much for the question. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Nathan Jackson to respond.
Fair enough.
Hi, Nathan Jackson, Society of United Professionals, researcher and economist. So on the subject of a just transition, I think that we would be very supportive of an amendment that ensures that any any long-term energy plan considers the impact of workers. Absolutely. One of the things that we've talked about, we've consulted with various levels of government on this, on the upcoming jobs crunch in the sector because of electrification, is both the opportunity for a just transition, which, and for a long time, just transition has sort of been a buzzword that's been thrown around and a promise to people that hasn't really materialized. We're talking about what are right now good paying jobs, oftentimes unionized jobs, and we've never really been able to present them a clear replacement, right? And what we see with the expansion of nuclear energy, and we know because we represent the workers that work in the nuclear generating stations, these are very good jobs that do have union protection. And would be a very just transition if we shifted folks away from fossil fuel industries. As far as the overall number of positions that we're looking at, the Electricity Human Resources Canada estimate puts us up to about 130,000 new jobs in the electricity sector needed in Canada by 2050. A portion of that is replacing retirees. It is an aging sector, but the vast majority of that is new work that will be created because of the expansion that's coming with electrification, and so making sure that those are good jobs, good union jobs, are something that we're very concerned about. But we do think that we can finally sort of follow through on the promise of a just transition away from fossil fuels, and the electrification future is the way to do that.
Yeah, I have to say my sense as well, just as you see with any industrial transformation, when we went from horse and buggy to automobiles, when we introduced air travel, you create whole new categories of employment and hundreds of thousands of more jobs. And my sense, and it seems that it's yours as well, is that this bill, if it's going to be doing energy planning, needs to be doing labor market planning at the same time. Is that fair?
Absolutely. I think that's fair. And I think one of the things we can look at is, we know we need a significant number of trained workers to do this work. But do we have the funding in place at our post-secondary education institutions to actually get people trained to do the work that we're going to need in the next couple of decades? Right? There are a lot of missing pieces that make it very difficult for us to meet the coming demand that comes with electrification.
Okay. If I could go back to Ms. Reid.
I'm still here.
Oh, good. Yeah. Our experience is that you come in and out of the
1 minute.
We're looking at spending, according to the ISO, something like $400 billion in electrical investment in the next few decades. I am very worried about spending that kind of money without requiring the professionals at the ISO to be part of the planning process. Is that consistent with your understanding that at that level of spending, you need energy professionals to be doing assessments?
Of course, the society's view is that at any level of spending, you need
fair
professionals.
But $400 billion has got to catch your attention.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. I want to thank everyone today for their presentations. It's been very useful.